Okay, Fata Morgana. Is this what, I mean, should we accept what science says that it is, or could it be something else? Because when I first seen this, I said, wow, you know, again, I took this on the same day of my my flat tard video that I put out of the boat being stretched out. Um, but this was later in the evening. I had went home, ate, took a shower, and I went back out to Pine Island and wanted to see what I could catch this particular day. And I was actually surprised when I first got there because I was like, "Wow!" I said, "Man, I maybe I should have stayed and just went over to Pine Island right at that time that I left Bayport." But anyhow, I was glad I caught this because it caught my eye again with some uh, experiments that I was doing with my concave convex mirror. I made the thing, and you know, I went back and was looking at some of my footage, and I said, "Well," I said, "this really does match up with my concave convex mirror." Um, and you know, I'm gonna just show a short clip of this, and but what I want you to do is watch how this um, all just it's a stretch. Um, it's stretching it out and inverting it. It's flipping it over upside down above the actual object. The actual object is there because if the actual object wasn't there, it cannot pick something up from around a corner, okay, and pull it up and pull it out into your vision. Now, it can take whatever is visible and um, make it disappear, but I don't think because of my concave convex mirroring experiments, I can't pull something up from behind anything and cause it to rise up above any kind of curvature. Um, so by watching this video, you know, again, I went back and I started looking at some of my experiments that I did with my mirror. Some of the experiments I did, I used a GoPro camera, which actually I wish I wouldn't have because the quality kind of stinks. But I did use a Nikon camera for one of the videos, and I posted a little bit on the stupid flat targer observations suck video. And you know, people can call me crazy, they can call me a nut, they can tell me I'm stupid, and you know, that's not going to deter me. Yes, it has depressed me somewhat, and it got me into a negative attitude. Um, and I was being really negative for a while, and I realized that negativity is not going to get us anywhere. If anything, it's gonna bring us down. Um, but you know, in all reality, I'm watching this thing and I'm saying, look at this. It's going back down um, because it's actually the visibility or this hot air mass that creates this concave convex mirroring effect um, is you know, what's the word I want to use for it? It's dissipating. Okay, it's like when you're walking in water. You know how you're out swimming in a lake or in the ocean, and you come across a hot spot, and then all of a sudden you hit a cold spot and then a hot spot. Well, this is what I think is kind of occurring in our natural air because our air is full of evaporated water. And then too, I had some footage of some fog that was being illuminated by you know, lights, headlights, even you know, street lights, and that fog gets illuminated, and it will create a blockage and stop you from seeing past a certain point. And that's the same way that I look at how you know, the backdrop that we always see where the water line ends and then you got this backdrop. Well, of course, some of that is that water is, you know, the angular resolution of that water creates a mirror. So that mirror is just reflecting the sky. But then there's a point where, boom, there's like a blind that drops down and hides everything. All right. And now I'm going to stop this part of the video short and put on some of my videos with me playing around with this mirror. And I'm going to start out with that first one that I did in the flat tard video, stupid flat tard video. But I really want you to pay attention to detail, because that's what my observations are about, is paying attention to that detail. Like that little gap that sticks up between those two tree lines just to the right of that one marker. You know, that little gap is, you know, 4.84 miles away. And, you know, when you're thinking about the height of that marker is only about 2 miles away, or maybe even a little bit less, because these markers, when they come out of Bayport, they turn left, they turn right, and then, you know, it kind of curves back out. I mean, you can even see the birds doubling up and mirroring in some of this. So, you know, again, you know, you pay attention to the details, and they start telling you a lot. All right, I'm going to move on to my mirror experiments. Okay, I'm going to speed this up a little bit here, up to a certain point, and then I'm going to slow it back down. I'm just going to speed it up twice the speed. So if you want to go into your YouTube settings and slow it back down, you can. So here we go. Actually, I hope I said speed it up, because that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to speed it up because I already showed this part in one of my videos. So I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time showing the same thing again. I wanted to get this in as shortly as possible. But you know what? It is really hard to show everything you want in a short little video. And yes, I guess you can, you know, maybe I should cherry pick a few parts out of it, and then, you know, change it up and then show the whole observation. And I will try to do that from now on. But again, you know, I'm limited on time. It is very hard to, you know, find the time to do all of this stuff on top of running a business. Yeah, I run a business. It's a small business, and I'm having some tough times because weather hasn't been right for my business and whatnot. But as you see, as I'm moving this boat away, so let's get away from that. But as you see, as I'm moving my fake boat away, my pretend boat, how it changes its shape, it changes its size, it stretches it out. So all this stretching, and it inverts it too. So in turn, you know, I'm looking at this, and again, I want to show some more footage of that orange pontoon boat, because I think that's really interesting too. But I want to show you this one part, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this back to regular speed again. Hang on one second. Okay, because people don't never think about this. What if my backdrop, my illuminated sky, or my illuminated curtain, or my blind that I call it, is dropped in front of the real object, but what we're seeing is the reflection off of the water, reflecting that image or projecting that image back to us. Actually, back a little bit further would have been a better um, uh, demonstration of it, but I still think that this is pretty good, because also this shows you that light reflecting off of the water, because we're going to call my mirror water, because we know water makes a very good mirror. It's a very good reflector of light. So light propagation is a issue that I always say that that's what causes our backdrop, our cutoff point, our blind, our curtain. And again, you call me crazy, call me nuts, but this is what I observe in all my observations. And, I'm starting to put a lot of the pieces together and really picking it apart because, we can go with Superior Mirage, uh, the Phantom Morgana. I have a hard time saying that. But this light propagation is a big thing too. I think that there's always multiple effects going on until you get a good day of crystal clear visibility, like the video that I did, where I was shooting the condos at Hudson Beach from Hernando Beach Islands, which was over 10 miles away. And people said, "Oh, just because you couldn't see the bottom, the last floor, oh, we got to throw that out. We can't submit that because there it is." But as you can see in this video, there's compression that's going on. Things get compressed, and if you have compression, of course you're going to get things mashing, or the bottoms of objects, buildings, boats vanishing first. That's just the way things are. And right here with this convex concave mirroring effect, it's pretty obvious to me um, that these things are matching up. And then if you add in some other effects that we get, um, it really starts to match things up really nicely. All right, so I'm gonna move on here shortly to another little clip that I did. And again, yeah, I guess this is just gonna have to be a little bit longer of a video because it is really hard to um, show everything in one little clip. All right, so I mean, you can see how low the angular resolution or angle that I'm at to this top of this mirroring, uh, this mirror, okay, or my waterboard. Um, but you can see these little dips in it, and that's what's creating this concave, convexed mirroring effect, because the oceans have waves and swells in them that create this ripple effect. I had to laugh at that because that was perfect. That transition. All right, here's me standing in front of it, and I've got it uh, with some pegs in this mirror, pegging it up and down, making it convex, concave. And well, hey, where did I go? You just seen me vanish into nowhere. Um, and 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 this is what happens sometimes, when you see something disappear bottom up. I've disappeared bottom up. Um, and again, this is what we also see with the sun. We got the sun up above, and hey, look at there, I popped up out of nowhere. Look at me being stretched too. And I'm also going to get skinny here in the middle. Um, and I'm inverted. So you could flip me upside down, and I would still be inverted. So we got inversion. And this is all playing a role in what we're seeing over the water, or what I observe. And when you start looking at objects vanishing or stretching, um, this all plays into this optical illusion that we're seeing. And when you're looking at the sun, and people say, well, I know the earth is a globe because you can watch the sunset. Well, my goodness gracious, I created a. I actually took this mirror out in my yard one day and faced it up toward the sun, and actually watched the sun vanish into its own reflection. I posted it. People don't watch my stuff because I'm just a stupid flat tard that, yeah, I stumble and tongue twist myself sometimes, and sometimes some of my explanations kind of are really not explained very well, because um, I don't write down anything. I don't do a script, and basically what I do is I wing explanations, and I talk about them, live, right, sitting in my chair here, watching the video, and then I leave it up to the viewers to decide for themselves what they're actually seeing, because I can't force anybody to believe anything, and I never want to force anybody to believe anything. Um, all I can do is show you my observations, my experiments, and let people be the judge for themselves on what they see, because that's just the way it is. We've been mind manipulated for years and years and years, okay? And this is the problem with education, that it becomes a belief because we were educated into this belief that, um, from young ages, to where we say, well, I've got to believe it because this is what I was told, this is what I was taught. Um, and hey, I was in the same boat. I believed everything I was taught, not everything I was told, and never questioned it, really. I mean, sure, there was times where you were mad at your teacher, and maybe he was a little defiant. Yeah, hey, go to the office. You're a bad boy. So you go to the office and you get in trouble. So uh, again, I know I'm taking a long time with this video, and like most of my videos that are long observational videos, people get bored with them, and they shut it off or move on, and they don't really watch. They don't see the details. And that's what it's about. It's about watching for the details. Little things in the background, little birdies floating, and you can watch them bobbing up and down in the waves, and how the little bitty waves block out the bottom halves of their bodies, which in turn will basically block out something, say, much further away, a bigger object like a boat, it blocks out the bottom end of it. And look at that right there. Oh my God, the sun vanished right in front of my eyes. Uh, so, these little experiments like this are, for me, truth telling. And if we can repeat these experiments and show people, I mean, that are open minded and are willing to look for other answers besides the answers that they got given in school. And again, if you were a good parent and was able to mimic, repeat, regurgitate everything that the teacher taught you, you were a good student. You're a good boy. You get A's. You move on to the next grade, and so on and so forth. As long as you're good at that repeating, parroting. And you know what? I was a great student in math, but there was some classes like history. I hated it. I thought it sucked because I thought I was being taught the same crap over and over again, from one year to the next. It was all basically the same bullshit. And I got tired of it. So, I didn't get great grades in history. What, and maybe it was my subconscious telling me don't buy this because it was bullshit. And again, look at this. I make a sunrise. And then you got to realize that I'm kind of like I'm straight onto this, so of course you're going to see this double reflection. But just think if I was down or up a little bit with my mirror, and all you saw was like some of my sunsets, that um, that little stretch right here, and then it vanishes within its own reflection. Um, and that's what actually I see the sun do. It vanishes within its own reflection only because of the atmosphere creating this concave, convexed mirroring effect, and that's why it vanishes. All right, let's move on. It's hard to do, but try to pick out some videos that I did that show the same scenery in the background, the same channel markers and whatnot, and and let you actually visually see the difference in the horizon, the difference in the water, the difference in the mirroring, everything. And it's hard to explain, but there's more than one effect occurring at the same time. And, you know, I try to go through them. You do have atmospheric lensing. You do have mirroring. You do have the wind, the tides, the angle of the sun shining on the water. I mean, this all plays a role in it. And people are chasing one thing when it's a multiple things of effects that make all of this occur and all of this happen. And, you know, the sunset setting over the curvature of Earth is actually an illusion. The sun is just getting farther and farther from our view. And people, you know, wonder why I say that. And this right here is my proof of why I say it, because I see it in my videos, but other people don't. So, you know, there's your, just getting to that vanishing point. Perception plays a big role in it too. You know, I just watched a video this morning that this guy showed a boat, you know, at ground level, and then he went up into a high-rise building and he showed it on a higher elevation. And he says, okay, there you go, there's the proof, because at ground level all I was seeing was the top part of the boat. But when he went up higher in his in the high-rise building, he could see the whole boat sitting in the water. And, you know, my comment was to him was, you know, the only way to see more of a plane is to go higher in your height. You will see more of the plane due to the angle that you were looking at. When you were at ground level, you were like an ant looking across something, and you do not see the whole plane. The plane becomes that little sliver, just like in my little demonstration of the board. You cannot tell how far or how long that plane actually is until you increase your height. And that you can put in a frickin' bank. Alright, this is me just playing around with the mirror right after I first made it. I had some major bends in it. I made it really concave, convexed. Um, and, you know, this thing cost me about $200 to make myself. I don't know what it would cost to go out and buy the actual mirror, but I made it out of a piece of plexiglass and that mirroring window screen. But I mean, you can look at some of the effects that occur in this, and you know, um, it stretches, it squashes, it triples you, it flips you upside down. Uh, I mean, you can see all kinds of effects that it makes, and these are the effects that. Here's the compression. Look at me at the bottom. I'm all short and squatty. I'm a little midget right now. Um, and then I can grow into this big old tall, long, stretchy guy too if I shape my mirror differently. So all depending on the atmospheric conditions, you get compression, you get stretching, um, and then you get this vanishing into its own reflection effect. And, you know, all these little things add up, man. And if you again, I don't get a lot of um, big flat Earth channels using my stuff, which maybe I ought to be thankful, because sometimes some of them kind of, uh, I mean, I appreciate Jeranism and Globe Busters, No Fanfare, um, Flat Earth Observer, and Taboo Conspiracy, man. He's been a great friend of mine. Um, And there's a handful of others that I really do trust because I feel like they're honesty. I feel that they're honest people and they give their honest opinion on things. But some of these other channels, um, I mean, I like them, and I see half truth, half this. But even with Jeranism, do I trust every word he says? No, no, and that's why, um, he even says, "Don't trust me. You go out and test these things yourself." And I have, and this is why I kind of I respect him because he doesn't tell you to believe him, and he tells you to go out and do your own research and do your own experiments. And exactly, Globebusters does the same. They don't expect you to just take their word for it. But some people, well, there was one guy when I first started out, he definitely got pissed off because I didn't believe every word that he said, so he turned on me, and we had our falling out. But I'm going to just leave it at that. Again, these are some of my experiments, and I've done other ones, but I never really get a lot of views. But hell with it. I I'm doing this for myself more than anybody else, but I'm sharing it because I thought more and more people would appreciate it, and maybe one day more and more people will appreciate my work. All right, thanks a lot for watching.